Hi, everybody. I am Kevin Ioli from Yahoo Sports, and I have had a lot of the biggest names on my channel doing some boxing and MMA interviews, but I have not had this guy who is, I think, a familiar face. I covered his pro debut, I covered his pay per view debut, I covered his last fight, I covered virtually every fight this guy had, and now we're talking to him as a promoter. The Golden Boy, Mr. Oscar De La Hoya. Hi, Oscar.
Kevin, hi. Thank you for having me.
It's been a while since we have chatted. Since the last time we chatted, you made a big fight. Gennady Golovkin, Canelo Alvarez, September 15th in Las
Yeah.
Vegas. Was there a time, Oscar, during the negotiations that you thought, this is it, it's not going to happen?
Oh, absolutely. Negotiations were really tough. Were very difficult. Obviously, the whole controversy surrounding the first fight, made it that much more, difficult to negotiate. Because one side wanted a bigger piece, and another side was sticking to their guns. But I'm glad that I finally made it happen. Look, these negotiations were uh, were were just going nowhere, and the fight was not going to take place. And like my president Eric Gomez mentioned, I threw a Hail Mary. I came out of pocket from my own money to make
Oscar
this
De La
fight
Hoya
happen.
money came out of pocket.
Exactly. To bridge the gap. And so now we have a fight September 15th, and I'm really happy about it.
I did a Facebook live chat last week after the fight was made, and I said, and I argued with a lot of the people who were asking me questions. We don't want to talk about business. We don't want to. The fans should not care who gets what and everything. But given that it played out so publicly, I just want to ask you this one question. When you look at how the fight did on pay per view last time, I know with the online sales it did about 1,000,004. I think most people think it could do 1,006,000, 1,007,000. This time around you couldn't come, neither guy could come close to that without the other. So aren't they both closer in value than, or 70-30 or 65-35? Doesn't the fact that each needs the other to sell 1,000,000 pay-per-views mean that they're closer in value than otherwise people might have thought?
Well, I mean, realistically, Canelo can fight twice and make the same money that he made, or he's going to make with Triple G. Triple G, on the other hand, has to fight 10 times or 12 times to make that type of money that he'll be making with Canelo. So, I mean, there's a huge gap between both guys. But you're right. Look, both guys need each other inside the ring to create an explosive fight, and that's all we need. That's all we want is a great fight inside the
Right.
ring. Look, the negotiations unfortunately took place publicly, to a certain extent, but the fight got made, and that's all that matters to me. I believe that, look, there's fights in the past, for instance, Trinidad and De La Hoya. I wish that fight would have taken place the second time around, and people didn't see it, and people are still talking about it. So I didn't want that happening here. We deserve Canelo Triple G2. The first fight was great. I believe the second fight is going to be even better. There's real animosity. Both guys don't like each other. They actually hate each other, and I think we're going to see that September 15th. So this fight is going to be a blockbuster. There's no doubt about it. But most importantly, is it's just going to be a great fight.
I think the X factor, Oscar, hanging over this fight is the drug test, the failed drug test. And my sense from talking to Gennady is that he did not hate Canelo. He respected Canelo as a great fighter and as an elite opponent. But then when that drug test came in, I thought that's where things changed. I know you don't believe Canelo attempted to cheat. I think he believes he did. But did you see a decided difference in the talks once the results of the drug test came out and what Team Golovkin was demanding as opposed to before that?
No, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, they were in a position that they thought was reasonable. Golovkin strongly believes that Canelo cheated, and if what doesn't really surprise me here is that people here in the U.S. especially really don't know about the issue that is taking place in Mexico with this clenbuterol and with tainted meat. It's normal. It happens all the time with athletes in Mexico. I mean, you take a look at the Mexican national soccer team. You've had some NFL football players travel down to Mexico and test positive for clenbuterol, cycling. So it's a normal thing over there. Canelo right now in Mexico is bigger than ever. Is supported by his Mexican nationals more than ever. I mean, they really want him to knock out Triple G, and the reason why is because this tainted meat is a normal issue in Mexico, and people go through it every single. It's a
Well,
lifestyle.
Oscar, let me ask you about that because here I understand that there, that is an issue, and I have never accused Canelo of cheating. I said, hey, it's not proven one way or the other which way he went, which I think is a fair statement. But here is the thing: whether or not he cheated, whether it was 100% tainted meat, he is at fault because he had the responsibility. Does he? I have never heard him accept responsibility for that. And I think at least fans in the U.S. want to, if you make a mistake, people forgive, right? I think, you know that as well as anybody, that people will forgive you if you make a mistake. But it seems like Canelo has not said, hey, I am sorry for not doing a better job of making sure my meat wasn't, if in fact that's what it was, saying wasn't more careful. Do you understand that?
Oh, absolutely. Look, I mean, obviously, when Canelo is tested, he's always been tested here in the U.S. It was actually the first time that he's ever been tested in Mexico while he was not in camp. He was not in the VADA program at the time, and he wanted to be randomly tested. These tests are being paid by the actual fighter. These tests are being conducted because the fighter wants them to take place. And so, obviously Canelo didn't have to be tested. He wasn't required. Canelo was the person who said, look, let's start doing the testing now. And so we can go on with our training camp. And it so happened to be that he was still in Mexico, not in training camp, and he was going to restaurants, eating whatever he wanted to eat, and not in camp, sticking to a strict diet, which is monitored by a nutritionist. So, I mean, look, I understand Triple G coming strong at Canelo and doubting him and talking negatively about him. It's all part of the game, and you know this, Kevin. I mean, look, if an opponent of mine when I was fighting,
You fought Vargas, who was juiced up.
yeah, who was I mean, but I mean, at least I had the decency not to really talk bad about Vargas and
Yeah, Floyd
continue to
Senior
talk.
did.
I mean, I didn't talk bad about him. I just knocked him out in our fight. So look, if there's anything negative that you have to say it inside the ring,
Right.
and try and knock out Canelo. Because I'll tell you one thing, Kevin, Canelo is so pissed off that he's not going to talk anymore. He's already held a press conference and apologized to everyone, and he did it sincerely. He's going to go in there, and believe me, September 15th, he's going to go and try and knock out Triple G. And I'm sure, and I hope that Triple G just tries to do the same thing. Therefore, we're going to have an amazing fight.
I hope you're right. And I want to ask you about the fight. Let me ask you one more question. I think where maybe you were the one that kind of got Triple G's side set off when you said to the TMZ interview on, I think it was April 25th, yes, Canelo's being tested every day and he'll be tested every day now until the end of the fight. It was kind of, they caught you off guard and you made that comment. But do you?
Well, he was randomly being tested. He
hadn't been
by the commission as well. Yeah.
Okay, I think that was what it was because he wasn't under the VADA program. He wasn't under the WBC Clean Boxer program.
Well,
you made those comments and they thought it was done, right? And
exactly.
So I think that's where they got PO'd.
Exactly. What happened was there was a little misinterpretation by everyone because look, Canelo was being tested by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. Canelo even went out of his way to do a follicle test, and passed with flying colors. So Canelo, look, he has done what he has to do. He's now in the VADA program year round, which he's paying. And so now it's time to fight. Let's get it on. The fight is made. The
Yeah,
fight is finally made.
let's talk about the fight because I think the first fight everybody thought, especially coming after 3 weeks after Mayweather McGregor, which was not exactly a great fight and which got all the attention. um, Now you come up with this fight, and I thought the style of the fight wasn't what a lot of people thought. Canelo moved more than people thought he would do. Triple G maybe didn't cut off the ring as well as some people thought he would do. And while it was a good fight, certainly I would not say it was a great fight. I think that this time both guys make adjustments. How do you see Canelo adjusting from his first fight, which was effective to a degree, moving and not letting Triple G kind of get him cornered? How do you see him adjusting from the first time to this time, and how will that change the way the fight goes?
Well, I'll tell you that the Canelo Triple G fight was probably one of the best fights that we've seen in recent years. Obviously, the second time around is going to be different. Canelo is going to stand his ground, push him back, try to knock him out. I mean, I'm telling you, Canelo is right now just so angry at what's been taking place on what
Who is
Triple
he
G
angry at?
camp.
Gennady? Is he angry at the media? Is he angry at the fan? Who is he angry at?
No, oh, he's angry at Golovkin.
Okay.
He's angry at Golovkin. I mean, there's real animosity. This reminds me of me and Vargas. I mean, it's gonna be a really intense fight. So look, if Canelo moves a little and doesn't want to get hit, then so be it. That's what boxing is, I guess, right? I mean, Floyd Mayweather has done it for, I guess, all his career. But the fans want to see a great fight, and the fans are gonna pick on the guy who's gonna maybe be moving a little more than normal. But this time around, Canelo is gonna stand his ground and fight him, and I believe we're gonna see a knockout this time.
Let's use your fight against Vargas as an example. I thought the one thing you did great in that fight, I think you were a better fighter overall than Fernando going into that fight, but you didn't get angry and you didn't fight angry in the ring.
Yeah.
Clear, you fought with your game plan. Fernando, by contrast, he was coming to bulldoze you, and he made it a great fight, but he let you get some clean shots in. Is that something that you think the Reynosos have to warn Canelo about, not fighting angry and sticking to whatever the game plan they come up with, so as to not bring emotion into it? And when you do that, it seems like you don't maybe follow the script as well.
Yeah, no, look, I mean, I think Canelo fought a smart fight, but the Mexican fans, Kevin, they want to see your guys stand toe to toe,
Right?
A la Julio Cesar Chavez. But let me tell you one thing: Golovkin woke up the sleeping giant. I just like Germany against Mexico the other day.
Did you
They
cause an
woke.
earthquake?
I mean, that win 1-0 caused a little mini earthquake in Mexico. I mean, you can imagine how happy the people were there because they got the win. And that's exactly what I believe they're going to get September 15th. I mean, I strongly believe Golovkin woke up the sleeping giant. It's going to be a heck of a fight.
Let me ask you this: in the ring after the last fight, I think most people felt Gennady won the fight, but when Canelo was asked, "Do you want the rematch?" he kind of hesitated, and the fans booed. Does that concern you at all? That he got booed by what was largely his crowd?
No, I mean, look, Canelo's a smart guy. Look, he doesn't like you know talking. I mean, he had just finished the fight. He wasn't gonna agree to a second fight. That's up to the promoters to take care of, to negotiate, to talk about. So Canelo just said, "Look, I mean, whatever the promoter wants, whatever my team wants, I do," and that's exactly what he said. I mean, the fact that he just hesitated a bit. Look, the fans are very hostile. The fans are they're very vocal.
Right.
And Canelo's a smart guy. So look, Canelo comes September 15th. is going to take care of business, and I'll tell you one thing: it's going to be a whole different fight up there in the ring. It's going to be a very intense fight come September 15th.
We are about 3 months away from the fight. Really
Right.
looking forward to that. I know it's early, but can you give us any idea what you're looking to do on the undercard? You're going to put a good undercard together.
Yeah, no, it'll be solid from top to bottom. I mean, we're looking at putting in some great middleweights, junior middleweights. We want to make it just a very, very intense fight card from top to bottom. So just like Golden Boy always does.
I want to ask you. Let's switch gears just a little bit. The TV world for boxing is changing. You have Eddie Hearn doing the DAZN deal, which if it goes the entire 8 years, it's being misrepresented as a $1 billion deal, and of course, it's not a $1 billion deal unless they go the entire 8 years. Top Rank has that ESPN deal. UFC is on ESPN Plus as well. What are you guys going to do? I know you had a relationship and have a relationship with ESPN. How do you kind of get in on that mix? It seems like HBO doesn't have the kind of budget that they had before. How do you keep Golden Boy relevant in this era where it seems like, there's now everybody's going to their own network and having their own, special deal?
Well, I mean, first of all, look, we wish everyone the best of luck. I think that the more boxing we have on TV, the better for everyone. The more eyeballs, the better for boxing. I think everyone is doing a great job from Bob Arum on ESPN to Eddie Hearn, who is going to try and crack the market here in the U.S. HBO. Let me tell you one thing: HBO is going to come on strong now that the merger took place and got approved with AT&T and Time Warner. We have an excellent relationship with HBO, who has been our partners for many years. Showtime has been doing an excellent job, with Espinoza doing spearheading these incredible fights, including Errol Spence and some great talents they have out there. So
that's a guy you have to miss as a promoter.
Wow. and we have great relationships with everyone. But look, here at Golden Boy, we're working on some amazing projects that we're going to be able to announce very soon. That it's going to take everyone by storm. I became a promoter for a reason, Kevin, and that's to build fighters, to help fighters out, to help the sport grow. We have an incredible team, and we're working on some incredible projects that I'm really excited about. So look, Golden Boy is here to stay for a long time. Just like Bob has been doing it for many years, I plan on staying a promoter for many years to come. And so these projects we're working on are projects that are only going to help and enhance the sport of boxing. So I'm excited about that.
I know you were in Paris at the Sportel, or it was Monaco, right? It was in Monaco. You were at Sportel talking.
I was in Miami, the Sportel.
Sportel was in Miami.
It was a summit, a sport. Yeah, it was a sports summit, Sportel summit in Miami.
Okay, I was 0 for 3. So, thanks for fixing me there. But I guess the question is, all these great plans that everybody has, right? I like Top Rank's deal on the surface, let's say that, but you have to have fighters, and it seems like the cost of doing business might be going up with all these people bidding. Eddie Hearn's going to be bidding, and you're going to be bidding, and the cost of talent for the fighters is going to probably go up, don't you think? And so it's going to be prohibitive to get a lot of these guys under contract.
Yeah. Well, it depends. It all depends on what the fighter wants to do with their career. I mean, do you want to be a fighter who just fights once a year, or do you want to be a fighter who fights a couple of times a year and really has there's no momentum with where their career is going? Do you want to be a champion, or do you want to be a legend? Do you want to be a pay-per-view attraction, or just want to be a fighter who gets paid fight by fight? It depends on what the fighter wants. And look, the only promoter that has been proving themselves over and over again in the last 15, 20 years is Golden Boy. We know how to build pay-per-view stars, and the only pay-per-view star present right now is with Golden Boy, and that's Canelo Alvarez. We know how to build these types of fighters. So there's a platform for everybody now. If you want to just make money and not worry about what they call you when you retire, whether you're a champion or whether you're a legend, or whether you were just a businessman. We know how to build legends. We know how to build pay-per-view stars. We know how to build fighters who can become champions. So it all depends what they want. It all depends what the fighter wants. So and the great thing is that there's platforms across the board for fighters to do whatever they want. But I'll tell you one thing: me as a ex-fighter and a promoter now, it feels so good to be called a legend because I fought everybody, because I didn't fight for the money. I fought
Right.
because of the legacy that it entails. That's the sweetest part about this sport.
Well, you and I have had a lot of our issues, but I have never criticized you. You have always been willing.
Thank you. I
We're willing to
appreciate
fight anybody, and you got in there.
it.
You, except for 4 rounds in one fight, you got in there and fought your butt off. Hey, let's end with.
Don't that around. It was only 3.
Okay, my mistake. Let's end with this. I appreciate your time, Oscar. Tito Ortiz, UFC Hall of Famer, put out a tweet a while ago. Big news coming in hashtag Golden Boy MMA. What's going on? Are you going to be an MMA promoter competing with Dave
No,
White?
yeah, we're just look. I'm a fight promoter, and I respect obviously what the UFC has been doing, what they're doing now. I respect the fighters even more. It's a real sport. Obviously, they're real athletes, so we have an opportunity here at Golden Boy to promote 2 of the biggest names, 2 of the pioneers in the sport. I mean, Chuck Liddell is obviously a legend. He's one of the pioneers that was first on the UFC platform many years ago. Tito Ortiz and Chuck have an amazing history together. So I just felt that a third fight between them can create not only a great fight but a good business as well.
Aren't you concerned at all about Chuck's? He's been knocked out so many times. He's 40. What is he? 48. He's even older than you, I believe. 48 years old, right? I mean, so he's up there. I didn't mean that. It came out badly. I'm older than you, so believe me, I wasn't taking a shot at you. But I mean, he's been around a long time. And doesn't that concern you that he's taken enough brain trauma that he doesn't need any more?
Well, look, I mean, obviously, that's going to be up to the commissions when he does apply for a license. It's up to the doctors, the commissioners. From what I saw, he looks in incredible shape. He looks amazing, actually. And what matters to me is that if A, they pass their test and the commission approves it, and B, we get a hell of a fight if they ever do step inside that octagon in the near future. I think it'll be a tremendous fight.
Well, let's leave it there. We could ask you a million more questions, but we will leave it there. September 15th, you will see this guy a lot, especially since Canelo Alvarez isn't talking. You will see Oscar De La Hoya for the next
I'll be doing a lot of
talking,
talking, Kevin, that's for sure.
Appreciate it, Oscar. All the best to you.
Thank you. You got it. Thank you.